Okay? The PC and the PO, page 110. Now, one thing you have to understand is back in the day when people would send mail, you know how on actual letters when you get a letter in the mail it has your address on it? Okay? Well, there's such a thing as a PO box. Okay? So maybe you don't want to give someone your home address. Okay? You can go to the post office and rent a post office box, and they can send your mail to the post office. You go and check it with your key. It's kind of like renting a locker. Does that make sense? Or like a gym or a building or something. Okay? So you can go and rent a PO box. It's called a post office box. Okay? So in this chapter, the PO is like a secret mailbox in between Lori's house and the girl's house. Okay. And they're kind of just going to use it for fun and sort of pass notes and trinkets and gifts and things back and forth through this secret mailbox. Does that make sense? Okay. The PC, okay, is in this story, the girls and Lori, part of what they do for, well, the girls, not Lori, but the girls, part of what they do for fun is once a week they write a weekly newspaper, okay, about their family, basically, and describing how each girl's behavior was. Okay, just like an imagination thing they do for fun. They're not serious about it, but they're just kind of playing. Okay, and in this story, in this newspaper article that they write, each girl has a different character's name. Okay, it would be like saying, okay, me and my siblings, we're going to write a journal about, and we're going to pretend like each of us is a character on the Chronicles of Narnia. So my older brother is going to be Peter, I would be Susan, such and so. You know what I'm saying? So that in our play, I would say, oh, Peter, how you acted so awful this week. But really, I'm talking about my older brother. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So the PC is this newspaper that the girls write. Okay. And in it, each girl is a different character. They're representing each character. Does that make sense? Okay. So the chapter will explain it to you a little better than that, but I just kind of want to give you a heads up. That's what we're talking about. So in this chapter, we're going to find out about the girls' weekly newspaper describing their behavior, and then the secret post office box between them and Lori. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. The PC and the PO. Yeah.
If it's post office box, why isn't the POB?
POB?
Yeah, because right now it's the PO.
Because when you talk about it, it's the PO box. You say PO box 225 or whatever it is. Okay? The PC and the PO. As spring came on, the lengthening days gave long afternoons for work and play of all sorts. Gardening, walks, rows on the river, and flower hunts employed the fine days, and for rainy ones they had house diversions, some old, some new, all more or less original. One of these games was the PC. As secret societies were the fashion, like secret clubs basically, it was thought proper to have one, and as all of the girls admired Charles Dickens, they called themselves the Pickwick Club. Okay, read the little subscript down there, Pickwick Club. Matthew, nice and loud.
Named in honor of Pickwick Papers, a novel by the 19th century English author Charles Dickens about a group of newspapermen. The girls' PC name was those characters in the book.
Okay, so the Pickwick Club was actually a book written by Charles Dickens, and the characters in that book are the characters the girls take on for their little magazine. That makes sense? Or newspaper article. With a few interruptions, they had kept this up for a whole year and met every Saturday evening in the big garret to read the society's weekly newspaper, the Pickwick Portfolio, to which all contributed something, while Joe, who reveled in pens and ink, was the editor. Okay, so who was the editor of this paper? Amy? Joe. Every girl would then contribute something to the paper. Okay, so maybe Amy contributed drawings, and Meg would write a poem, and Beth would maybe add some music notes in there. Whatever it was, each girl contributed, and then Joe put it all together. She was the editor. Make sense?
So she didn't have to contribute?
It's a good question. Let's wait and see. At 7 o'clock, the 4 members ascended to the clubroom and took their seats with great solemnity. Meg, as the eldest, was Samuel Pickwick. All right, so let's keep track here.
Pickwick.
Oops. All right. So Meg is Samuel Pickwick. Okay. And then we'll figure out what the other three are: Joe, Beth, and Amy. Okay. Joe, being the literary type, was Augustus Snodgrass. I don't know who made these names, but okay.
Augustus Snodgrass.
So Augustus Snodgrass.
Hey, that's the name of my grandma.
Beth, because she was Snodgrass.
No, the Augustus part.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I was gonna say, I'm so sorry. Okay. Beth, because she was round and rosy, was Tracy Tupman. And Amy, who was always trying to do what she couldn't do, was Nathaniel Winkle.
My name is Nathaniel Winkle, because I like to wink. Oh.
Pickwick, the president, read the paper, which was filled with original tales, poetry, local news, funny advertisements, and hints, in which they good-naturedly reminded each other of their faults and shortcomings. On one occasion, Mr. Pickwick, which is Meg, put on a pair of spectacles without any glasses in them, rapped upon the table, hemmed, and began to read. The Pickwick Portfolio, May 20th, 18-something, Poet's Corner Anniversary Ode. Who is reading the poem aloud right now? Matthew? Meg. Again we meet to celebrate, with badge and solemn rite, our 52nd anniversary in Pickwick Hall tonight. We all are here in perfect health, none gone from our small band. Again we see each well-known face and press each friendly hand. Our Pickwick, always at his post, with reverence we greet, as, spectacles on his nose, he reads our well-filled weekly sheet. Although he suffers from a cold, we joy to hear him speak, for words of wisdom from him fall, in spite of croak or squeak. Old 6-foot Snodgrass looms on high with elephantine grace. What is elephantine grace? Layla? Good. Which of the girls is 6 foot tall and has elephantine grace? Layla? Joe. Who is Snodgrass? Joe is Snodgrass. And beams upon the company with brown and jovial face. Quick question. Why is Joe's face brown or tan? Aiden? She's always outside playing. So this is still about Snodgrass or Joe. Poetic fire lights up his eye. He struggles against his lot. Behold, ambition on his brow, and on his nose a blot. Or dirt, basically. Next our peaceful Tupman comes, so rosy, plump, and sweet, who chokes with laughter at the puns and tumbles off his seat. Who is Tupman? Who is the peaceful Tupman? Micah? Who? Beth. Prim little Winkle, too, is here, with every hair in place, a model of propriety, though he hates to wash his face. The year is gone, we still unite, to joke and laugh and read, and tread the path of literature that doth to glory lead. Long may our paper prosper well, our club unbroken be, and coming years their blessings pour on the useful gay P.C. A. Snodgrass. Which March sister wrote this poem? Matthew?
Snodgrass?
Which is?
Joe?
Joe. Meg is the one reading it because she's the president, but it was written by Joe. The second submission, entitled The Masked Marriage, A Tale of Venice, is a brief romance written by Mr. Pickwick, featuring a poor but gallant young man who gains his fortune and his true love. Who wrote this story to contribute to the paper? which is who? Meg. Good. Which makes sense that she would write a romantic story about true love. In a dramatic ending fit for a romantic novel, the hero dons a mask and marries his love in place of the man her parents have chosen for her to wed. Beth's contribution, called The History of a Squash, is a narrative detailing its author's experience fetching and preparing the said vegetable for supper. It ends with a nice little recipe for a squash souffle. Who contributed that part of the paper this week? Amy? Beth. Good. Amy's literary effort consists of an elegantly worded but grammatically flawed letter, begging pardon for not composing an original piece and lamenting the demands of schoolwork, which left her little time for such tasks. She's been so busy with her schoolwork that she hasn't been able to form anything for the paper this week. Oh, poor Amy.
Hey, we do have a lot of work with.
These great works of literature are followed by the news of the week, consisting of a report of a fall that Mr. Pickwick had taken, which gave everyone quite a scare, but luckily turned out to produce no lasting injury. Who had fallen that week? Tripped and fallen? Everyone? Meg. Meg is Pickwick. Next, there is a sad announcement of the mysterious disappearance of the beloved family cat, Mrs. Snowball Patpaw, followed by a poem of lament by A. Snodgrass for the cherished pet. The final page of the paper is devoted entirely to practical manners, advertisements, announcements, and the weekly report, which that week read, Weekly Report. Meg, good. Joe, bad. Beth, very good. Amy, middling. What does middling mean? Chloe? Yeah.
Snodgrass, bad.
What is this weekly report about? What is good, bad, very good, or middling? Ian?
On how their behavior and acting as a lady was.
Very good. How their behavior and acting as a lady was.
Joe, bad. Joe's name, bad. Joe's character,
Very good. I guess Beth wrote that.
Yes.
I'm asking, why isn't Joe very bad? Because she is very unladylike.
It's a good question. I don't know. You have to ask the author. That's what she said. As the president finished reading the paper, a round of applause followed, and then Mr. Snodgrass rose to make a proposition. Mr. President and gentlemen, he began in a distinguished tone, I wish to propose the admission of a new member to our club, one who highly deserves the honor, would be deeply grateful for it, and would add immensely to the spirit of the club and the literary value of the paper. I propose Mr. Theodore Lawrence as an honorary member of the PC. Come now, do have him. So, she's proposing that Lori be admitted to the club, but everybody else has to agree. Yes.
So whenever she was talking, whenever Joe was talking about someone, I knew it would be Lauren because she's kind of in love with him.
No.
How do you know?
No.
How do you know? No.
They certainly are good friends.
I know. It's just that.
Okay. You can ask.
I mean, so whenever Joe went over to Lori's house to kind of cheer him up a little bit, I thought said that they. So did it mean like they like each other friendship-way or otherwise?
Friendship way. Mm-hmm. Joe's sudden change of tone made the girls laugh, but all looked rather anxious, and no one said a word as Snodgrass took his seat. Now remember, this is kind of like their secret sister club, and so adding a new member, also a boy, not so sure about that. We'll put it to a vote, said the president. All in favor of this motion, please say aye. A loud response from Snodgrass followed, to everybody's surprise, by a timid one from Beth. Contrary-minded say no. Meg and Amy were contrary-minded, and Mr. Winkle rose to say with great elegance, this is Amy, we don't wish any boys. They only joke and bounce about. This is a ladies' club, and we wish to be private and proper. Chloe, pick your head up. I'm afraid he'll laugh at our paper and make fun of us afterward, observed Pickwick, pulling the little curl on her forehead as she always did when doubtful. Up rose Snodgrass, very much in earnest. Sir, I give you my word as a gentleman. Laurie won't do anything of the sort. He likes to write, and he'll give a tone to our contributions and keep us from being sentimental, don't you see? Guys, we can do so little for him, and he does so much for us. I think the least we can do is to offer him a place here and make him welcome if he comes. This artful allusion to benefits conferred brought Tupman to his feet, looking as if he had quite made up his mind. That would be Beth. Yes, we ought to do it, even if we are afraid. I say he may come, and his grandpa too, if he likes. Sweet Beth, she's just going to include everybody. This spirited burst from Beth electrified the club, and Jo left her seat to shake hands approvingly. Now then, let's vote again. Everybody remember, it's our Laurie, and everyone say aye, cried Snodgrass excitedly. Aye, 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 replied 3 voices at once. Oh, good, bless you. Now, allow me to present the new member! And to the dismay of the rest of the club, Jo threw open the door of the closet and displayed Laurie sitting on a rag bag, flushed and twinkling with suppressed laughter. You rogue! You traitor! Jo, how could you? Cried the 3 girls.
I don't.
Let me explain. Cried the 3 girls, as Snodgrass led her friend triumphantly forth, and, producing a chair, installed him in a jiffy. Okay, let me explain what happened. So, she's like, guys, come on, can you please have Laurie join the club, please? They're like, all right, fine. She's like, okay, great, because he's been here the whole time. She opens the door, and out comes Laurie. They're like, Jo, come on.
Just heard all of that.
No, I heard it go like this.
The coolness of you 2 rascals is amazing, began Mr. Pickwick, trying to get up an awful frown and only succeeding in producing a friendly smile. Are they actually mad at Jo?
No.
But the new member, Laurie, rose to the occasion and said in the most engaging manner, Mr. President and ladies, I beg your pardon, gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself as Sam Weller, the very humble servant of the club. Oh, good, cried Jo, pounding with the handle of the old warming pan on which she leaned. All right, so now we have to add Sam Weller to the club. Guys, Jacob. My faithful friend and noble patron, continued Laurie with a wave of the hand, who has so flatteringly presented me, is not to be blamed for this stratagem. I planned it, and she only gave in after lots of teasing. Oh, come now, don't lay it all on yourself. You know I propose hiding you in the cupboard, broke in Snodgrass, who was enjoying the joke amazingly. Never mind what she said. I'm the wretch that did it, sir, said the new member with a nod to Mr. Pickwick. But on my honor, I never will do so again, and henceforth devote myself to the interest of this immortal club. Yeah. Hear, hear, Weller! Cried Joe, clashing the lid of the warming pan like a cymbal. Like,
What if they hadn't?
yeah, let's go!
What if they hadn't accepted him?
Okay, if I have to stop for you, Chloe, or you, Jacob, again, either one of you will have a warning, okay? Go on, added Winkle and Tupman, while the president bowed. I merely wish to say that as a token of my gratitude for the honor done to me, and adding him to the club, and as a means of promoting friendly relations among members, I have set up a post office in the hedge in the lower corner of the garden. It's the old birdhouse, but I stopped up the door and made the roof open so that it will hold all sorts of things and save our valuable time. Letters, manuscripts, books, and bundles can be passed in there, and it will be uncommonly nice, I fancy. Allow me to present the club key, and with many thanks for your favor, take my seat. What gift is he offering them as a thank you for letting him into the club? Layla?
Key to like.
Good. So he has a key to the mailbox, and all the girls have a key. Great applause as Mr. Weller deposited a little key on the table and sat down. The warming pan clashed and waved wildly, and it was some time before order could be restored. A long discussion followed. It was an unusually lively meeting, which did not adjourn until a late hour, when it broke up with 3 shrill cheers for the new member. No one ever regretted admitting Sam Weller for a more devoted, well-behaved, and jovial member no club could ever have. He certainly did add spirit to the meetings, and his contributions were excellent, but never sentimental. Joe regarded them as worthy of Bacon, Milton, or Shakespeare, and remodeled her own works with good effect, she thought. So, why is Lori able to offer such well-written contributions to the paper? Why are his contributions seemingly better than all the girls? Connor?
Because he has a really good education.
He's been educated much more than they have. Good. The P.O., or the post office box, flourished wonderfully, for nearly as many queer things passed through it as through the real post office. Tragedies, poetry and pickles, garden seeds, music and gingerbread, invitations, scoldings, and even puppies. What it says.
Puppies are not very good.
The old gentleman, apparently Mr. Lawrence caught wind of this, he liked the fun, and he amused himself by sending odd bundles, mysterious messages, and funny telegrams. He would kind of like play pranks on them through their post office box.
By who?
And Mr. Lawrence. And his gardener, who was smitten with Hannah's charms. What does smitten mean? Aiden?
Smith. Affected sharply with big feelings. Afflicted.
He really liked Hannah. Actually sent a love letter to Joe's care. He tried to send a love letter to Hannah and accidentally sent it to Joe. Oh, how they laughed when that secret came out, never dreaming just how many love letters that little post office would hold in the years to come.
Who's Hannah?
Their housemaid.
Oh, the housemaid.
All right, so we are going to do the questions today since we're on chapter 9. Oh, my Lanta.